Hi everyone, it's Tammy, and today I'm going to show you how to make this pinwheel card. This spins around so you can actually move it if you want to. Little pinwheel, just kind of fun, and then you just open it up like this. So let's go ahead and get started. You will need, and I'm hoping I get most everything, some glue, a pokey tool, some ribbon, a brad. I'm using this as a small little circle for the middle of the pinwheel. That's kind of optional, but I like it, and you can use whatever kind of circle you have, or if yours is bigger, that's fine. A bone folder, and you will need, pulling out my paper over here, I'm using Very Vanilla as my base, and I'm using this peach colored for my layer. So see the front layer? Going to use the peach color for that. I'm also going to use the peach color for the back of the pinwheel, and then I'm going to use this as my background, and then I'm going to use these two pieces of cardstock to make the actual pinwheel. Now all of these papers, all the pattern papers, were all from the same set, and it's an old Stampin' Up! Set called Cupcakes and Carousels. I still have a ton of the paper left, so I really needed to figure something out to use it. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm not trying to use a bunch of Stampin' Up! Stuff because I know that not everybody has it, and I want to show you that you can use any papers you have, but I love the Stampin' Up! Stuff, so there's going to be times that I just show it, and I love that it's double-sided, and it really is a great product. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, you don't have to use Stampin' Up! Stuff for this. So you want to start out with an A2 size card. So I took an 8.5 by 11, I cut it at 5.5, I scored it at 4 1/4, and then I'm just going to fold this right on that using my bone folder, and the base is complete. So we can put this to the side for now. And then I want to cut my first layer, and so this is going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Normally I do 1/4 inch smaller, but I just wanted it to be just a hair bigger than that. So normally I do, if I'm doing a layer for my base card, I would do it at 4 by 5 1/4. That's probably what a lot of you guys are used to hearing. Just move this up a notch. So you're moving it up just 1/8 of an inch. So now just 1/8 of an inch of the Very Vanilla is going to show. So I'm just doing 4 1/8, and then I'm going to do 5 3/8. So you can again put it at the 5 1/4 and move it up just 1/8 of an inch to the next largest dot and cut that. So then this will fit directly on top, if I can pick that up, of the card base, but I'm not going to put anything down yet. So that's going to go here, and you can see what I'm talking about. It will fit directly on top and just give you a little shine through of the base. And then I'm going to do 1/4 inch smaller for my background, which is going to be this one. So I want to cut this at 3 7/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just counting the lines. And I want it to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So 5 1/8. Again, I can put this up here and leave it alone for now. And then I want to take, and I don't know if this will cut enough of it or not. I want the solid to be 2 3/4 square. Looks like I'm going to have to get into this anyway, so let's just do this one. So I'm going to do 2 3/4. I think I am. Hold on, let me just try it. 2 3/4. I don't think I am actually. And then I want to take this one and do 2 3/4. And it is like right there. Goodness gracious, it's like just barely cutting any off. And when you do that, sometimes you get a little fray if you're just barely cutting some off, so I'm just going to cut that fray off. That's why I went fast. It seems to work out better for me if I do. Oh goodness, I'm just getting card pulp everywhere. Okay, and then I want it to be 2 3/4 this way as well. So 2 3/4. And then 2 3/4. And I will put the dimensions down below so you guys can look at that and you won't have to remember. So once I have that, what I need to do is I need to take one of these and I'm going to lightly score it. You won't be able to really see the score line, but I still want to do it lightly at 1 3/8. That is the halfway point. So 1 2 3/8. Just going to put that in here and I'm going to, whoops, yikes, lightly score it. So I'm just taking my bone folder and just lightly scoring it. And then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing. 1 2 3/8. Oops. Lightly score it. And then so you can maybe hopefully see these score lines, and so I know exactly where the middle is. And I'm going to do something with that here in a minute. First I'm going to finish cutting. And I need to cut both of these papers, and yeah, they're not sided, so it doesn't really matter. This one kind of is, but it doesn't really matter. I want these to all be cut at 1 1/4 inch, I believe. Let me double check that real quick. Yes, 1 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to go into 1/4 inch, 1 1/4, and cut. This is all left over still, so you still have some scraps to do other things. I'm going to turn this and cut 1 1/4. So I have it doubled up, so each one of these, each time I'm cutting, I'm getting 2 squares. One of this paper and one of that paper. And remember, it's double-sided. So then I do 1 1/4 again. 1 1/4 again. And finally 1 1/4 again. I want to cut a total of 8 squares. So I'm cutting 4 of these because each one is, and this you can trash. Actually, all of this is left over. You can do whatever you wish with all of this. I am trashing it because I have too many messes. So I believe that's all the cutting we have to do now, except for the ribbon. So what I like to do is take this and put it right on top of the other one. So now I have both of these squares right on top. And then I'm going to take my little pokey thing and go right in the middle through both of them. I'm just kind of moving it around a little bit just to make the hole a little bit bigger. And that's all I'm going to do at the moment, except for I'm going to then take this and move the bottom. Actually, I'm going to move it this way so that this way, so that, I guess it's the same way, isn't it? I don't know. I'm just moving it so that I can get, I guess I didn't have to do anything. Okay, it was like this. I'm going to keep the scored one on top, and I'm just going to line the score lines up with the points. Like that. And then I'm going to take my glue, and with just one side, I'm going to lift this up and just put a little bit of glue on here. You don't have to use a lot, just a little bit, just to hold it. That's the only thing we're doing with this. And I'm going to do it with the other side too, just because I want to make it symmetrical. But it really, you don't need to do it. After you've done it one time, you just need a little bit of glue so that these will stay together and you have your little hole through both of them. Sometimes you have to work the hole again, which is fine. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my little pieces and line them up. So I have 2 of those, 2 of those, 3 of those, 3 of those, 4 of those, and 4 of those. So now I'm going to take one of this one, one of this one, and then one of each of these, but I'm going to turn them over. And then one of each of these, and then one of each of these, but I'm going to turn them over. So now I have it lined up as to how I'm going to put them onto this pinwheel base. And I want to start out by putting one right here. So I'm going to take my first one and I'm going to glue down, and I only want to glue one side of the pinwheel, so the right side of the pinwheel. And then I'm going to put this one down right here. And it doesn't really matter where you start because it's all going to be a point. And so this is going to go in this square right here. But I only have half of it glued down. So then I'm going to take my next one and I can glue down the whole thing now. The first piece was the only piece that I had to be careful with. Now I'm going to just put this one down in that box. And then I can rotate it if I want to. And I'm going to put this one down in this box. So every time there's a corner on my pinwheel base, on my peach, there's going to be a square. So turn it again, there's a corner, I need a square there. And I have all these facing up the way I want to put them down. So I'm just following along. If one of them had a specific way that it needed to go, just, you know, make sure you're putting it that way. It doesn't, this is going to spin, so it doesn't really matter at all. But if you're using stripes or something like that and it matters to you, then just pay attention to how you're putting them down. And then this one. And I love paper pads because you know all of the paper matches. Even though you might not have put the papers together, you know that they match. So, I mean, I might not have put this paper with this paper, but they all go together. And I love that about paper pads because sometimes picking out colors is hard for me. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. It's weird. I struggle with that. Now we're getting to the last square to put on, and if you remember, we had this one that it's still not adhered. So I'm going to take this one, just like I had been, put all my glue on the back, and I'm going to slide this one under that and just put this one right in place in its square. And then I will take my glue and I will put a little bit on the back of that and adhere that down. So now all of the pieces are stuck down. Okay, so now what you're going to do, you see how this is going to go on top of this, which is on top of this. I need a little circle for this. I'm going to take this bottom layer, I'm going to take my punch, and I'm going to go inside as far as I can go, and I'm going to punch out my little flower. And you're going to think, oh no, but look, when I put this down and I put this on top of it, you're never going to see where I cut out that little flower. It would have to be way over here before you even start seeing it. So there's plenty of room for you to cut out a little flower without it seeing it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to go around this little circle. I'm not going to go over the hole, but I'm just going to go around it. And then I'm going to take this and I'm putting it right on top of where I glued. And it may not be centered, I don't really know. At this point, it's just a crapshoot, which is a-okay, because honestly, nobody's going to notice. I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. I mean, you can see on this one, it wasn't centered. That's a-okay. While this is drying, I'm going to go ahead and pick out my brad. I might want, these are bright brads, so I'm not sure if I want another yellow one. Yellow seems to be the only color that's actually in there. I don't have peach. I have orange though. Maybe that will work. You know what? I think I'll just do orange this time, just to make it a little different. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, whoops, I seem to have like 2 holes here. Yikes. Well, I'm just going to, there, I can kind of feel it at the top. I'm going to just punch it through where the hole was, and you can see that it's not exactly even on each side. Again, I don't care. It's fine. And you can see how the card, how it will spin. Perfect, perfect. So then I'm going to put this where I want it on this card, and I'm just lining up the point with the middle, and then I'm making sure that these points don't go off the page. So do it at your highest, at one of the points that you're doing it, because you want to make sure that the points are, they're the widest part, that they stay on the page. So once you've done that, then you take your little pointy tool again and you pierce that bottom paper. So now this goes through all of the layers, and you're going to stick your brad right through there, and then you close the brad up. And I'm not making it super tight, the brad, because I want to be able to still spin it. And if I loosen my brad up a little bit, you could probably even spin it a little more. That's cute. So there we go. And then I'm going to take my glue gun. This isn't a glue gun, sorry, my adhesive gun, automatic tape gun, ATG is what we call these. And I'm just going to put adhesive all the way around, but I'm not going to put it around in the middle because I don't want to get any on this. I want to make sure that mechanism can move freely. So then I'm just putting this right down right on top of this. And there's the hole, but you can't see it from this side. So it's fabulous. And then before I put this down, I'm going to put some ribbon. I used this ribbon for the last one. I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't use a different color for this card. Oh, that yellow is too bright. I need to use this yellow though. On something. I could have maybe used it on the other one. I didn't even think. Let me see what other colors I have. I have a light green. I think that goes. I'm going to use it. So just use ribbon that's in your stash. I've had this ribbon forever. I don't know how long I've had this vanilla ribbon, but I know it hasn't been forever, but I know that this one I have had forever. So I kind of like multicolored cards like this, that you can use stuff that's in your stash that you just haven't, I mean, I love it, but I haven't used it very much. Just like this one, I have this one, and this is just not a color I use very often, and I have a ton of this ribbon, so I really need to use it, but I don't have much to use it on. So once I have gotten this, you know, picked out my color or whatever, I'm going to just trim it down so that it can go around the card. So I'm going to take my adhesive and put it on both ends, but I'm leaving the middle part and, well, most of the center part open because I'm going to put a little knot there, and I don't know where I want it yet, so I want to leave all of that open so I have my choice. So then you can go ahead and wrap this around, and it fits perfectly just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card base. And I do want to be kind of generous with my adhesive this time because it's a heavy card, heavier card, and I want to make sure it doesn't fall off. So I'm just going to adhere this to the card base. And remember, we cut it so it's just 1/8 of an inch showing, not much. And then I'm going to need to take some ribbon to do a knot. So I'm just going to stick this down. You could do a bow if you wanted to. I just don't think that that's the look I'm going for. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim these off at an angle. like that. And there we go. There is our finished card. Isn't that cute? So I hope you guys try this and stay tuned for next week's new tutorial. I will see you then. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.